So, folks, this week's Zoll poll is, should weed even be scheduled? Dan, do you think weed should be a scheduled substance? And I'm going to have to say this in ways that YouTube aren't going to flag us, but there's that dark brown, there's that molly, there's all those other things that are scheduled substances, including weed. Booze and tobacco, however, are not scheduled substances.
Regulated. Fully regulated.
That's it. So you look at a lot of your medicinal stuff, like we're talking pharmaceuticals and that, but even your worst, weed is classified as one of the worst, one of the most bad for you and dependence producing substances out there. The big news now is that the UN has suddenly changed their mind on this. Only like 100 years late, but that's okay.
At least they do.
At least the party.
So, but do you think weed should be scheduled? You know?
No.
At all, or maybe a little bit?
Well, I mean, I don't think so. I think I should just let us do what we want with it. But I think, in all fairness, maybe then, just to that there is some sort of, I don't know, I can say not control, but at least they have their say in it. Give
Some
it some
oversight.
Some oversight, some regulation in terms like they do with the tobacco and the alcohol kind of thing, where you're
Yeah.
allowed to use as much as you please in your own sense. You can drink as much as you want and smoke as many bloody
Can't
cigarettes
sell
as
it.
you want, but you can't exactly. There's certain things that allow it to be free,
It's the same with
Yeah.
tobacco.
but
You
not
can grow as much
scheduled
as you
where
want.
you are.
Yeah.
In like,
And there's no one coming into your house
Right.
counting your beers.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
why do they want to come and count our plants?
So yeah, that's my take on it.
So you think it shouldn't be scheduled at all? Regulated, but not scheduled?
Yes, scheduled it means it's it's in the medicinal levels, right?
Yeah.
Scheduling. If you're scheduling it, you're going to make it something that's it's a
Yeah.
dependable substance and it is addictive and it needs to be prescribed, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I don't think that it needs to be scheduled, but it may be regulated for certain things. Yeah,
Okay. Joe?
but still free. Sorry, still free. For everyone to use it, please.
Yeah. I do believe that cannabis should be in the exact same schedule as lavender. Lavender also has medicinal properties. Nobody's coming to my house to count my lavender plants. Nobody's telling me I can't buy or sell or gift somebody a beautiful sage bundle with lavender added in there.
And you can smoke.
Is sage regulated? I demand that cannabis is the same regulation as scheduled as sage.
I think some forms of sage may be regulated. Like, I know salvia is not regulated everywhere, but in some places it is.
Okay, you know.
But-
True.
but
Okay, I'll
then
go back
again,
to
I don't
lavender
see-
then. I'll go back to lavender then.
I don't see anyone getting a prescription for salvia.
No.
Yeah, exactly. But yet.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants prescription of that.
That's a Dr. Doolittle's prescription. So you're saying, no,
No,
shouldn't
it
be
doesn't
regulated?
need to be scheduled. Regulated, yes.
Yes.
Right? But not scheduled. Especially not with all the other things it's been scheduled with. So well done to the United Nations, for the countries affiliated to the United Nations, for finally voting properly, kind of.
We're going to get deep into that story shortly in CBD and N. Marley, do you think weed should be...
Well, look, if you look at the technicalities of how it became to be scheduled in the first place, the whole decision was based on ignorance, and it was not based on any scientific research or evidence. It was just a political decision that was made. And if you look at what's happening, it's still a political game, and it's always going to be about politics. It's not going to actually be about the plant and what the plant can do. It's about what people can benefit and what power another country can have over one country because of the weed laws that they have in place. So, because of that, the fact that cannabis has become a political pawn, no, it shouldn't be scheduled at all. Regulated, I agree, but not any worse than tobacco or alcohol.
Yeah.
Because those, according to recent valid scientific evidence, cannabis is less dangerous than tobacco and alcohol. So
And sugar.
and sugar. So you can't
And coffee.
regulate it. You can't regulate it harsher than any of those. Because what's the evidence for it? What's your reasoning for it? So no.
I see Dan's got a...
No, there's actually just something that just came up to me. Sorry. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. The other day, I was looking at my life insurance, whatever it is. And anyway, I got a call from one of the companies, and they said to me, right, so they went through the whole spiel. I wanted a quote. So they asked all the stupid questions. Do you do this? Do you smoke? No. But I smoke cannabis. Ooh. Is there a problem with that? Let me get back to you, sir. So the one company had to phone me back, and they said, we've spoken to our underwriters, and it's fine. I was like, what do you mean it's fine? They said, no, there's no problem at all, it's fine. I was like, cool, great, give me the quote, got the quote. Then just happens another company phones me. Big company, big name in the game. And they ask me, do you smoke? No, but I smoke cannabis. Ooh, sure. Now they're like, now it's hectic. How many times a week? And the options that they had, the one was that 4 times a week was the most, like, I was like, 4 times a week. Okay, we'll have to, we're going to have to get back to you. One moment, hold on. And it was at like, whatever it was at, I think it was like 1,000 Rand or whatever it was, for whatever it was. When they got back to me, it went up by 1,000 Rand.
Yeah.
Where the other company didn't do fucking anything. It stayed at what it was when they initially were saying, they said, no, there's nothing wrong. So then I said to them, right, well then I'd like to know why. Is this why do I get double the thing? And they said, no, it's part of the underwriters have written this whole thing and this is how you've come out. I said, well, this is absolute rubbish.
Yeah.
I was like, this is bullshit. How can you tell me that I'm a healthy person that's never got any of the diseases that you've asked me to say yes on? I do not smoke. I'm a health. How is it possible? Anyway, they said they'd phone me back and this and that. It came back that I managed to say to them that I do it less times. They said, well, if you change this and change this, we can drop the price. I'm like,
So you want me to lie and then...
So you were like,
They wouldn't tell you you're medical.
I was like, okay, well, if you're going to tell me how to get it cheaper, then sure, we can go that route. I mean, I was being honest the whole way through. But it was just very interesting for them to be like that, how they said, well, because you smoke cannabis, you're now in a more of a risk group.
A higher risk.
And I said, well, then
That's
what is the
ridiculous.
risk? Show me the risk. And they wrote me an
Yeah.
email saying, well, if you're driving on the road and you smoke cigarettes, you're fine.
We did that test.
And then if you drive and you smoke cannabis, you're more of a risk to other drivers. And I was just like,
did you send them the video?
I would have loved to have all that stuff to
Prove
send
it.
them. I would have been like,
Yeah. Because then you say to him,
Wait
so
till you
if I
get to
drink, does that mean my premium also gets doubled?
but they didn't ask me if I drink.
Yeah, but that's
And I was like, are you joking? You didn't even ask me how much I drink. How can you do this? And they were eventually I got it
The
down
most
to lower than what the other one. I was
destructive
like,
drug on
cool,
the planet.
I've played your game and I've played your own game, so I got my insurance lower. Cool, cheers, bye. But I smoke. No.
You'll know.
Y'all know I smoke, so don't come at the end and say, oh, but fish pays. You better pay up, bitch. That's all I care for.
The strangest part of this whole story for me is Dan saying these oaks asked the question, say, do you smoke 4 times a week, sir? I would have been, damn son, 4 times a day.
At least.
At
How many
least.
days of the week are there?
Yeah.
That means-
Yeah, that's my AM quota.
That would
Ryan,
be interesting.
There's a bargain for you.
what do you think?
Oh,
Do you
so
think
are you
weed
just
should be
gonna come
scheduled,
on-
like medicines?
No, by no means. Definitely not. I believe that everyone should be able to register their own business, treat it exactly like alcohol. If I want to brew my own alcohol and sell it, I register a business and I do it. I don't feel like there's any need for government or anyone to get involved. It wouldn't help anyone in any sense.
Because that's what leaves me with this big question. The whole world has gone, hip hip hooray! One small step for the UN, one leap for Mary Jane. And I feel like, is it that big a move though? It's good to see progress,
It's progress.
but
Here's
is it
the-
just more of the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the
Yes,
thing.
ma'am.
It's like what the vote that took place yesterday to remove, like delete cannabis and cannabis resin from Schedule 4 applies to the medical side.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
not about us getting high, it's not about us like calming ourselves or just like going through life and having this lifestyle that's attached to this plant. That's not being discussed at all, it's not being recognized. Like that fight is still another 10 years away before we get to the vote that we got to yesterday. So it's sort of cool because it sets an international standard, but we're already moving that way in South Africa in any way. So for us, it's not a big game changer. What was cool though is like on all the votes yesterday, South Africa voted yes. So that's quite a good indication for where they see us going.
Yeah.
But again, it's all fucking medical.
Money.
It's not about like us getting high, which is like what our fight is
Yeah,
all
exactly.
of
I mean, because
great
as much as there was that
medical-
progress, they also voted no to move THC and dronabinol and whatever from Schedule 2 to Schedule 1.
Yeah.
So it stays at Schedule 2.
I think for governments, it's all just about the money. It's not about
Yeah, that's
people
what I
getting
see.
high or the medicinal. They don't care about either. It's where they're going to make the money, and they see by how they're controlling it that they're winning, but they're not. They're just upsetting a lot of people and making more work for everyone else.
We're just creating a stronger black market.
Yeah,
And that's
exactly
the problem.
what's happening.
We've already got a country there's so much crime and,
And it
that
feeds
they
the
should be
corruption
busy.
as well,
They should leave the
unfortunately.
ganja people alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Molly brought up an interesting thing. You said SA voted yes, because usually they're quite staunchly against it. But my thought I keep having, the conspiratorial part of me, the Alex Jones part of me, keeps thinking that weed in South Africa is no longer spelled D-A-N-K. It's now spelled D-A-N-C.
Yes.
Because it feels like people are now motivated financially. You know, before we know it, Ramaphosa's got a line of CBD there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Very soon.
McDonald's.
Yeah, we're going to see the Springboks advertising it, and we're going to see it getting anxiety about the game.
The green and gold.
So,
I know where the green comes from.
the nuts and bolts of the story is, I'm going to bring you the New York Times one because it was quite good. A United Nations Commission voted on Wednesday to remove cannabis for medicinal purposes from a category of the world's most dangerous drugs. A highly anticipated and long delayed decision that could clear the way for an expansion of marijuana research and medical use. They say that 53 member states participated, and essentially it had been recommended before to them, but this was now a vote to say we move it out of Schedule 4 for, like you just said earlier, for medicinal purposes. So recreational, does that mean there's still a part of recreational that's scheduled? Or is it's still lower? You see the oxymoron I'm seeing, like everyone are like medicinal, hemp, recreational. What impact does this have on the rest though?
Yep. Because it's feeling to me like this is more enabling the hemp industry, the industrial hemp industry to get going because it's a cannabis plant.
They're saying specifically for medicinal, but is this gonna therefore impact the others and allow them to boom more? Is it a win
Not
for
sure.
everyone or just for medicinal?
Or just for medicinal.
I think this is, in general, it's a good move because it says, it recognizes that cannabis has medicinal and therapeutic benefits.
Yes.
That's a really great
Okay.
start to morph into recreational.
Yeah.
But in terms of like on a UN level, there's no vote or talk about recreational yet.
It also
We're
now
not there
allows
yet.
research.
Yeah, it does allow for research now, which is a great starting point because we didn't have that previously.
Yeah.
And that will open up the door for a lot of other things. Once there's like recent valid studies that have been conducted like by reputable companies, we like that's
Definitely opens
proper
the gates
evidence.
for them.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Big
Opens the
time.
gate for the big boys that now only want to operate under the good side of it basically, or they're trying to ride the good side.
Or maybe they're actually doing this just to open up that good side door. It makes them look good. Because I think they're going to do it either way.
Oh, you think they're buying some favour? They're giving us a little rope, yeah, but they're going to take a little rope there.
On the
We
other
give you a bit
side,
of weed,
they might.
but more drones. Mo 5G.
Mo 5G fire.
So, what was interesting, they said that the only China... I'm sorry, only China was
But it's
So, the only nation that abstained from voting was Ukraine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On all four.
Losers.
They don't like the
But
dang.
but here's the thing.
Yeah, there's no dank there.
Here's the
Definitely
Just
not.
Ruderalis.
Yeah. Autos all over.
thing. But here's the thing. like
Because
a
they're
few
so angry.
a few months ago they were gonna vote no on everything.
So at least
And
they
if
didn't
they did-
Ukraine on the parade.
So if they Jesus Joe. So if they did vote no, it could have gone bad for us in the section in the 5.1 vote because it was like 25-27 and their abstention.
No, very close.
So
Yeah.
so like it's
It made
better
a
than a no.
difference.
It was
Yeah.
literally.
It's better than a no and we'll take it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was
It helped.
just by the hair of the chinny chin chin that we got
Yeah.
this through.
Yeah.
So they were saying also on Wednesday the Commission rejected a proposal to include the cannabis derivative THC in the 1961 convention, which would have tightened some controls. So it sounds like some people were pushing for more legislation at the
Yes.
same time.
Yes.
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 Big who though? Big pharma? Big paper?
Big paper.
World Health Organization. They actually set forward most of those recommendations.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
eh?
NWO. I mean WHO.
No, no,
Okay,
at
sorry.
this stage, you'd be like,
Yeah,
Literally
against
who? What you saying
it.
there,
Yeah,
I'm
Ryan?
that's
saying,
why I
don't
didn't
at this
say
stage,
because-
who would be against it? Like, it's gone so far forward that why would people still be wanting to hold it back?
Maybe we're the cause to their rebeldom. You know how we love weed? Maybe some people love fighting weed as much as we love weed. You know, yin and
There are
yang.
people
Yeah.
that love, people
Love.
love arguing.
Yeah.
I know people that we could argue all day, and they this gives them that power, that like pedestal to stand on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some
Yeah.
people just like to be contrary.
Yeah. True.
Mary, Mary.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, I wonder if DFL was there with their posters, or if they did it by Zoom. They had to put devices out there.
I think since the sales of Aqual have gone down, they can't afford the airplane charge tickets to Vienna.
So, you know, the scheduling thing, it is progress, and I'll always take progress for progress's sake. You know,
Yes.
it is nice to see it at that level, as overdue as it may seem. But it's something that Yusuf all kind of brought up is the booze and cigarette thing. And I kind of feel like what's good for the booze is good for the ganja. You know? Because
But we all agree.
it's like we all unanimously agree that it's like no more harmful. But I do worry though that this research will only be in such a context with medicinal that it doesn't help recreational.
Yeah.
That's really like we forget how lucky we are. It's the criminalized, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and I know the US, we should actually do a story soon. All over the show, the states will say, "Shh, shh, legalize, legalize."
Yeah.
Eh?
And I see you, Daka, and I raise you all the
Yeah.
rest.
Yeah.
But also, you know what? I just realized it's quicker to vote than it is to get in your car a couple of times a year to go to the neighboring state to
Yeah.
get weed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think now Oaks have realized, fuck, it would be nice to get it down the road for
Yeah.
me. Hey.
Yeah.
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 But it's also the first time that the US has always ever been this supportive with this medicinal thing as well.
It's also
Because
true.
usually
Yeah.
they're very objective. They're like
Yes.
bigger stick and all.
Yeah. Yeah, what was interesting is Brazil voted no pretty adamantly. And then he went on to, like, because you have this section where they vote and then a time where they can explain their vote. And he got up there and explained that, like, they voted no because there's no scientific evidence showing that cannabis has medicinal value. So therefore Brazil will not be voting yes because that's what the research shows. And we're like, but other people are saying they voted yes because the research shows that.
So does Brazil not have access to Google?
Obviously, the cable must have been cut.
Yeah, no.
Is it,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like
Ignorance is.
Yeah,
Bliss.
it was very interesting. But again, that's why I'm saying there's a political motivation behind it. It's not what it seems. There's this game that's happening on the stage, and then there's another game that's not on the camera, and it's not happening in the open. And it's people talking and like, okay, how can I
Backrooms and
benefit
golf
in this way?
courses
And
a drink
yes,
at the pub. Yeah.
yes, and
it's lizard people.
It's the
Yes.
people.
yeah, and that's
Couldn't
what
believe it.
that's what drives all of this. It's just a game, you know.
Yeah.
At the end
Yeah,
of the
but
day.
like they were saying in this, everyone's making a buck. Because they were
Yeah.
saying medicinal, but they also brought up CBD water and CBD this and CBD
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know, so obviously they're aware that there's a market. Everyone wants to get their cut, and that if that's what it takes as well, that's just the way it is. Eh? But let's hope sooner rather than later they vote on something that's really like more liberating for the rest of the world. Because they're saying it will give other nations the chance now to follow suit, but they're saying countries aren't obligated to follow this.
Yeah.
No,
change.
they're not.
They're not obligated,
They're not.
yeah.
Yeah, they still have the final call in their country.
How are we doing on Kenzie?